की मदद करो थोड़ी बहुत, हम भी बेरोजगारी है।
से छोड़ दे मोदी बस के कोने रे।
ये अपने फायदे के लिए कर रहे हैं, ये चीजें आपके फायदे के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं।
कांग्रेस नहीं पसंद, नो कांग्रेस नो, निर्दलीय यस, बीजेपी इस बार नो।
काम करने वाला बंदा चाहिए।
The glitter of this election all-consuming, the glare of this election unforgiving. The first phase has voted and so have 12 seats of Rajasthan. It's now over to phase 2. The electoral procession, with all its bells, whistles and contradictions, is rolling, passing through the rest of the 13 states of Rajasthan. And tracking this political carnival, we file our next election dispatch from Jodhpur, Rajasthan. In both the 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha elections, Union Minister Gajendra Shekhawat secured victory in Jodhpur for 2 consecutive terms, which marked a significant shift as the BJP successfully penetrated a Congress bastion. In 2024 Lok Sabha elections for the Jodhpur constituency are between the sitting BJP MP, Union Minister Jal Mantri Gajendra Shekhawat and Sachin pilot loyalists Karan Singh Uchiyarda, a new contender from the Congress.
एक चीज पे आप चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि मैं जोधपुर का बेटा हूं, तो क्या गजेंद्र सिंह शेखावत जोधपुर के नहीं है?
नहीं है, सिक्कर के हैं। सिक्कर के पास में गांव है, महरौली, वहां के रहने वाले हैं।
तो क्या उनको चुनाव लड़ने का अधिकार नहीं है?
बिल्कुल है, अधिकार क्यों नहीं? हमने वोट दिया ना, 2 बार MP बनाया ना, कलेजे का टुकड़ा बनाया ना, पानी के मंत्रियों के पानी नहीं पहुंचा पाए, नहर नहीं ला पाए, लोग प्यासे मर रहे हैं, तो इनका वहाँ ERCP वहाँ लाए खुद के एरिया में, यहाँ लाते ना, तो इनका प्यार प्रेम नहीं है ना, इसलिए कह रहे हैं। ये तीसरी टाइम हम नकार रहे हैं इनको, 2 टाइम तो हमने प्यार दिया ना इनको।
चलिए, ये उनकी बुद्धिमत्ता की बात है। वैसे मैं इसमें समस्या उनकी नहीं है, ये समस्या कांग्रेस पार्टी के DNA की है। कांग्रेस पार्टी ने हमेशा ही देश को इसी तरह से बांटकर अपनी राजनीति को सफल करने का प्रयास किया।
क्या सनातन एक मुद्दा है? क्योंकि वो चीज़ जो है पिछले काफ़ी समय से उसको लेकर डिस्कशन भी हुआ है।
इतने वादे किए थे, एक भी वादा का होर्डिंग दिख रहा है आपको? सब जगह क्या लगा हुआ है? एक भी होर्डिंग। 2014 का वादा, 2019 का वादे खत्म, अब कह रहे हैं 2024 में 2047 का देश बनाएंगे। अरे 2047 में आप भी 100 साल के हो जाओगे, हम भी 80-90 साल के हो जाएंगे। आप बोलने की पता नहीं स्थिति में रहोगे कि नहीं रहोगे, हम पूछने की स्थिति में रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे। फिर 2047 में कौन मानेगा देश को? कौन देखेगा यार? आज अगर कोई हुए, आपने 10 साल में किया क्या, इसका हिसाब दो ना, और हम आगे 5 साल में क्या करोगे इसका बताओ ना।
अल्टीमेटली मोदी जी के 2014 में देश की राजनीति में पदार्पण के बाद विकास एकमात्र मुद्दा बचा है। अब उसके साथ में जो दूसरे इश्यूज जनरेट होते हैं, और जोधपुर क्योंकि शौर्य और भक्ति दोनों की धरती है, तो वो इश्यूज़ भी अपने आप में कुछ उभर करके आते हैं। लेकिन मुख्य मुद्दा यही है, भारत विकसित बने, और विकसित भारत बना करके हम उन सभी महामना लोगों को जिन्होंने इस देश को आज़ाद कराने के लिए अपने आप को समर्पित किया, अपना योगदान किया, बलिदान किया, उन सबको श्रद्धा सुमन अर्पित कर सकें।
Once represented by former Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot thrice from 1991 to 1999, the former CM lost the Jodhpur Lok Sabha seat to Gajendra Shekhawat in 2019, defeated by a margin of 2.74 thousand votes. This time though, for Gajendra Shekhawat, it's a tough road. The main reason, anti-incumbency. People upset that the Jal Mantri or the Water Resource Minister couldn't get water to his own parched constituency.
10 साल होगा जल शक्ति मंत्री गजेंद्र सिंह जी आज भारत का सबसे बड़ा मंत्री बनाया गया। जोधपुर के लिए एक टूटी नहीं लगाई है। इधर जो है ना बालेश्वर क्षेत्र में, शेरगढ़ क्षेत्र में सब लोग अभी नाराज है इनसे, इसलिए नाराज है कि किया कुछ नहीं।
गजेंद्र सिंह ने हमारे जोधपुर के लिए एक आने का काम नहीं किया, जो कि इनके हाथ में इतना बड़ा काम था कि इधर नदी बहा देते थे पानी की, ठीक है ना। और न कभी ये 5 साल में आए नहीं, तो हम दर्शन ही नहीं किए इनके। हमारे अशोक जी जितना तो कोई ऐसा कोई नेता न तो हुआ है न होगा।
वोट सर पूरा का पूरा गजेंद्र सिंह शेखावत जी को जाएगा। यहाँ पे सर 5 साल के अंदर बहुत विकास हुआ है। और जो सर हमारी राज्य सरकार थी, जो गहलोत सरकार थी, वो सर पूरा का पूरा गजेंद्र सिंह शेखावत ने जो काम किया उसको पूरा ढकने का काम किया है।
कौन पसंद है? फूल पसंद है, हाथ पसंद है? फूल पसंद है। आपको हाथ पसंद है, आपको फूल पसंद है? फूल पसंद है।
जमाने जब्त होगी कांग्रेस की, मैं बता रहा हूँ, आप याद कर लेना आपको।
The Lok Sabha election in Rajasthan were meant to be simple for the BJP this time. 2019, the state had given the BJP the highest vote share of the country at 58.37%. 3 months ago, the people had voted the BJP to power in state elections. But this time, there is a sense that this Lok Sabha election in Rajasthan could be different. How different is the question.
How do you see these 25 seats in Rajasthan?
Well, this time, for sure, there are signs that seats will not be 25-0. The opposition... It doesn't look as of now. It looks very, very difficult. There are 8 to 9 seats where the BJP is facing a contest for the first time. So I fancy chances. I'm not 100% sure if Congress will win all those seats, but allies and partners might win a chance. The opposition is getting a chance, and B, the election is very localized in those pockets. It is not the hyper-nationalistic Narendra Modi versus who election.
This is not a, as per you, this time in Rajasthan, it's not a personality contest.
It's in few pockets I've seen that.
How big is the Modi factor in all of this?
It is quite big. It is quite big. There is nothing that the BJP has on ticket other than the Prime Minister. You've been travelling on the roads. Have you seen any candidate's photograph? Locals don't even realize who the candidate is. It's all Prime Minister. That is what the BJP is banking on. But now people have started questioning the MPs that we don't have an issue with the Prime Minister. Tell us, what have you delivered? People don't have that kind of an enthusiasm that we've got to vote and there is a big issue around which they are rallying.
In Chunav nahi utra hai, in what people are saying. Who does that benefit?
It certainly benefits the opposition at the moment, you know, because when jab chunav uthawa hota hai, then everything goes in a particular wave. Right now there is no wave.
The BJP has been campaigning hard, but after the first phase, the Congress has sensed opportunity. There is a clear attempt to localize this election, while the BJP is building on the Modi factor. Which factor prevails over the other will win the ballot.
Of all things, I'm a big believer of serendipity. Covering the 2019 elections in Rajasthan, I was right here. I've just turned a corner and I had no idea, and I've arrived exactly at the same spot. That's serendipity. 2019, Rajasthan had voted overwhelmingly for the Prime Minister and the Bharatiya Janata Party, where more than half of the people in Rajasthan voted the BJP. Rajasthan gave the BJP the highest voting percentage in the country of 58.37%. The BJP, from 2014, sweeping the state on 25 seats, from 2019, sweeping the state, is looking for a hat-trick. This time around, on ground, there seems to be a bit of a disaffection. Will it actually translate for support where the opposition is concerned, the Congress? Let's find out. All right, let's cut across to the big buzz that's emanating from Amethi, Uttar Pradesh. Well, there's been a fair amount of buzz from Amethi, but we still don't know whether Rahul Gandhi will fight from Amethi. But what we do know, that renovation has begun at Rahul Gandhi's Amethi residence. Congress guest house in Amethi also is getting a bit of a makeover. Is Congress gearing up for Rahul's Amethi contest? What about neighbouring Rai Bareli? Lots of questions coming in then. But those visuals that you see, viewers, were the visuals when Rahul Gandhi represented the seat of Amethi and lost it to Smriti Irani in 2019. So a bit of a touch-up to Rahul's Amethi residence. Will that pave the way for Rahul Gandhi announcing his nomination? Word has it, it could come as early as the second phase, which is quite a contradiction because it's been rather late in the day if Rahul would want to contest from Amethi. But most political analysts are giving it to strategy that after Wayanad votes on which Rahul is contesting from, after that, Rahul's candidature from the seat of Amethi will be announced. Will Rai Bareli be also announced at the back of that? That's the big question. But what we have been given to understand that Rahul Gandhi's residence been given a coat of paint. Even the Congress guest house is being spruced up. Now, is this for Rahul Gandhi to come and build base post his Wayanad contest, which is going to take place in the second phase of the 26th of April, this Friday? But fifth phase is when Amethi will go to vote. Fifth phase is when Amethi will go to vote, and Rahul Gandhi will need to file his nominations very quickly if he's waiting after the second phase of polling.
समय समय पर इसकी सफाई, इसमें मरम्मत होती रहती है। साल 2 साल से मरम्मत नहीं हुई थी, तो आप समझ सकते हैं इसी कारण, शायद इस मरम्मत के कारण, रंगाई पुताई के कारण स्मृति ईरानी डरी हूँ। बार बार राहुल 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 का जवाब ऐसे कर रहे हैं जैसे शेरवान को सपने में सचिन तेंदुलकर आते थे, आजकल स्मृति ईरानी को राहुल गांधी जी आ रहे हैं। तो ये रूटीन की व्यवस्था है, साफ सफाई होती रही, हम लोग बैठते ही थे, आप सभी से यही बैठ कर मिलते बात करते थे।
All right, so that's the big buzz coming in from Amethi, Uttar Pradesh. Amethi goes into polling in the fifth phase, so does Rai Bareli. And what you see on your television screen, viewers, is Rahul Gandhi's Amethi's residence. You know, just look at it right now. Both these pictures there. Will Rahul Gandhi be making his way from Wayanad to Amethi after his constituency in Wayanad would poll on the 26th of April? Many suggest this is Congress strategy, did not want to confuse the voters in Wayanad, suggesting that he's fighting from 2 seats. And after Wayanad goes to vote, which is in the second phase, then it will be announced that Rahul Gandhi is contesting from Amethi. Moshmi, my colleague who's been tracking all the developments, is joining me live for more. Moshmi, what are you hearing? Coat of paint for Rahul Gandhi's residence in Amethi. Will Rahul Gandhi soon be there filing his nomination? What about Rai Bareli?
Right, we've been hearing that there are preparations that are happening in Amethi. The buzz is around that Rahul Gandhi would come after the 26th when the polling has happened in Wayanad, and perhaps even the Rai Bareli team, Preeti, is gearing up for the arrival of its candidate. Clearly that there has been no preparation as far as any other candidate is concerned, and considering the logic that if you had to field somebody else, you'd ideally give that person some more time, would have declared the name along with the other candidates of UP, but you didn't do that. So is it Priyanka Gandhi Vadra who's going to come in Rai Bareli? She hasn't said a no till now. Several questions have been asked from Rahul Gandhi as well, and Rahul Gandhi is also not denied that he's not going to contest from Amethi. So the Congress still holding its cards very close to its heart, but clearly, the painting on the wall, the writing on the wall clearly indicates that Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are going to go.
But, Moshmi, before I go into a quick break, so, one thing we're seeming to understand that in all probability, Rahul Gandhi is going to get back to his residence and file his nomination post-Wayanad polling. What about Priyanka Gandhi? What's the news or the buzz internally within the Congress where the Rai Bareli seat comes into question? Are we going to see both the siblings contest?
See, there are several potential candidates, and you heard one Deepak Singh, who's a senior leader in Amethi. He was speaking. He could have been a candidate from Amethi. KL Sharma could have been a candidate from Rai Bareli, but that buzz is not there at all. There is no buzz about any alternative. So clearly, when Rahul Gandhi goes back and he lives in 10 Janpat with Sonia Gandhi now, having lost his house after he lost that membership of the parliament and haven't got one. So clearly, there is no buzz of an alternative candidate, and clear indication that Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi are going to take the plunge.
All right, they're going to take the plunge. Will it be Amethi, Raebareli? Well, for political journalists like Moshmi and I, it's going to be one juicy contest, at least optics-wise. Thank you, Moshmi, for joining us with the very latest. What I am going to do is get into a quick break, and on the other side, we're going to shift focus, viewers, on the statistics that have come in for the first phase of polling. A lot of you must be wondering, because you've heard a lot of banter, especially on social media, some of the articles in print suggesting, what does it mean? We're going to decodify the low voting turnout in the first phase of elections. The Election Commission is giving it to a massive heat wave, and believe me, for those of us on ground, it is very hot. But is there a political meaning to it? We're going to get some of the top psephologists of the country to come together and decode that. Stay with us.
गेम रिकॉर्ड कोई तोड़ ही नहीं पाता।
एक बार मैं तोड़ दूंगा।
So smooth, yeah.
Time out. Get your own Moto G64 5G. Unleash the beast.
India cools down in 10 seconds with Hexa Inverter, heavy-duty air conditioner. Higher, more creation, more possibilities.
An unparalleled election coverage with the team that wins every election. From unmatched on-ground reporting to real-time poll updates. Stay tuned to the Maximum channel for the maximum coverage.
Platinum Partner. Signature Finest Silver Elaichi, a premium product from Dilbag. Mankind Pharma, serving life. Intelligence meets art with the all-new Motorola Edge 50 Pro. Higher heavy-duty air conditioners. Gold Partner, Dulux Paints.
घर रुंगटा स्टील से बनाया होता तो रईस यहाँ से नहीं आ पाता। रुंगटा स्टील का यही कमाल, एक बार लगे चले सालों साल। रुंगटा स्टील TMD बार, एकदम सॉलिड।
सुप्रीम के 9000 से भी ज्यादा प्लम्बिंग एंड ड्रेनेज प्रोडक्ट्स और वाटर टैंक्स बने हैं क्वालिटी रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड इनोवेटिव डिजाइन से। सुप्रीम टोटल पाइपिंग सोल्यूशन, जीवन भर का साथ।
ड्यूलक्स वेदरशील्ड पावर फ्लेक्स,
इसका हर रंग लड़े धूप, धूल और बारिश से।
इट्स कलरफुल, इट्स पावरफुल।
He is coming here and claiming that he is a leader. And in Karnataka today we are searching them. And I was looking through his affidavit. I am very happy to know, or I don't know if I have to be sad to know, it's a joke. He is poorer than me. How can he be poorer than me? I don't understand. He says 22, this thing he has paid around 606 rupees. I paid 2.5 crores as taxes, I say. And I want to ask you people, do you believe that he is poorer than me?
But today, the same Congress party has invited him to spread more lies about Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar in this Thiruvananthapuram constituency. People should recall that very recently the ED had questioned Mr. Prakash Raj in a 100 crore fake Ponzi scam involving a Tiruchi jewelry company. So, Mr. Prakash Raj has no credibility, he lacks credibility, and he's been called here to act as an artist to lie.
गेम रिकॉर्ड कोई तोड़ ही नहीं पाता।
एक बार मैं तोड़ दूंगा।
So smooth, yeah.
Glamour. Get your own Moto G64 5G. Unleash the beast.
India cools down in 10 seconds with Hexa Inverter, heavy duty air conditioner. Higher, more creation, more possibilities.
सुप्रीम के 9000 से भी ज्यादा प्लम्बिंग एंड ड्रेनेज प्रोडक्ट्स और वाटर टैंक्स बने हैं क्वालिटी रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड इनोवेटिव डिजाइन से। सुप्रीम टोटल पाइपिंग सोल्यूशन, जीवन भर का साथ।
Dulux Weather Shield Power Flex.
इसका हर रंग लड़े धूप, धूल और बारिश से।
It's colorful. It's powerful.
आप लोग तो कुछ महीने पहले ही कांग्रेस के पंजे से मुक्त हुए हैं। कांग्रेस पार्टी ने सत्ता में रहते हुए जो जख्म दिए वो राजस्थान के लोग कभी भी भूल नहीं सकते। कांग्रेस ने महिलाओं पर अत्याचार के मामले में राजस्थान को नंबर 1 बना दिया था और दुर्भाग्य देखिए कांग्रेस के लोग विधानसभा में बेशर्मी के साथ कहते थे कि ये तो राजस्थान की पहचान है। अरे डूब मरो, ये शोभा नहीं देता है। कांग्रेस ने शोभा यात्रा पर पत्थरबाजी करने वालों को सरकारी संरक्षण दिया था। इसी कांग्रेस पार्टी ने तुष्टीकरण के लिए मालपुरा, करौली, छबड़ा, टोंक, जोधपुर को दंगों की आग में झोंक दिया था। झोंक दिया था कि नहीं झोंक दिया था? झोंक दिया था कि नहीं झोंक दिया था? क्या ऐसे लोगों को माफ करोगे? अब भाजपा सरकार आने के बाद किसी की हिम्मत नहीं है कि आपकी आस्था पर सवाल उठा दे।
Powered by PolicyBazaar.com. हर फैमिली होगी इंश्योर्ड। नो स्ट्रेस फिनोलेक्स।
Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. How many of you who are following this election very closely have delved into the numbers in terms of voter percentage in the first phase? There's a lot of chatter on it, especially on social media, even in print, because there's been a huge difference from 2019, what the first phase polled on these seats, and what it has polled in the first phase in 2024. And that's our top story on To The Point this evening. We decode what the low voter turnout means in this year's Phase 1 Lok Sabha polls. And what could it really mean in terms of political? Now, the Election Commission has said, and rightly so, that there is a heat wave across the country, and the heat could be deterring voters to actually come out and poll in large numbers. They've constantly, asking voters to come out and exercise their franchise when it comes down to voting. But is there a political meaning to all of this? We would have heard multiple points of views and different narratives and commentary. So what we're going to do in this show, viewers, we're going to get some of the top psephologists in the country and also political analysts analysts to put their heads together on what could it really mean. Now, there's been a dip of what now seems a 4% in this phase of phase polling on April 19th. Now, you compare it to, like I said, 2019 Lok Sabha elections, it's a 4% drop. While the Election Commission, like I said, has warned the heat wave is stopping voters from coming out and are pushing voters to vote in large numbers. Even the Prime Minister did so, urging people to come out and vote in large numbers despite of how hot it is outside. Now, a turnout of 65.5% was recorded in 102 seats of Phase 1, as against 69.9% on these very seats in 2019. So that is a drop of 4%. Now, I'm going to just break it down in terms of the states that went to polls. In Tamil Nadu, all 39 seats voted in the first phase. Now, the voting percentage in 2024 polling was 69.7% as against 72.4% in 2019. So there's about a drop of 3.4%. While in Uttarakhand, the voters' turnout was 57.2%, which is the second lowest in the country in the first phase. It was 61.9% in 2024. Let's get you West Bengal. West Bengal is interesting because it has polled the second highest voting percentage in the country on the 3 seats that went to polling in the first phase of election, and it saw a voter turnout of 81.9% as against 71.4% in 2019. So that's a very, very interesting number because it's seen a jump of a 10% jump in voting percentage from 2019 on these 3 seats to 81.9% in 2024. Let's turn around to Maharashtra. 81.9% voters came out in phase 1, while in 2019, 64.1% were the voters in 2019. So a massive jump in Maharashtra numbers as well, as close to 7.4% jump. Now, in the BJP-ruled states, Uttar Pradesh phase 1 saw 61.1% voter turnout as against 66.6% in 2019. So that's a drop in Uttar Pradesh on those 8 seats that went to polls in the first phase of about 5%, and that's quite a bit. Let's get you now down to Madhya Pradesh. 2024 saw about 67.8% voter turnout as against 75.1% in 2019. We'll also get you Rajasthan, which is seemingly the freak card in all of this, which is about 57% this time around, and it was in its early 60s in 2019. So the question that we're going to ask is a high voter turnout advantage to the BJP, or is it getting the BJP on the back foot? Who has the edge in this scenario? Is it traditional psephology? What does that suggest? Or the dynamics very, very different this time around? I'm sure a lot of you political kidas want to know exactly what the low voting percentage would mean. Introducing our guest this evening, Rajat Sethi, political commentator, Ashutosh, political commentator, author, Sanjay Kumar, co-director, Lokniti, CSDS and psephologist, Rahul Verma, fellow Center for Policy Research. Sanjay Kumar, asking you that question because there's been so much chatter, so much talk on the 4% fall in voting percentage from 2019. We'll get into the fine print because some states have polled 10% more than 2019 and some have fallen as low as 7 to 8%. What does it mean if you have to decode it for the viewers? Will you give it to heat or something more?
I'm going to disappoint the viewers because really I don't have an explanation. And why there is no explanation? Because if we look at the electoral history in the recent past, or even if you go back to a couple of decades ago, there have been increase in turnout, and we have seen governments voted out of power and governments retaining power. And it is vice versa also. Turnout has gone up and the governments has been voted out of power and government have retained the power. If you look at the most recent one, 2014 Lok Sabha election, there was a huge increase in turnout and we know how badly Congress got defeated. 2019 Lok Sabha election, much higher turnout compared to 2014 Lok Sabha elections, but the BJP registered a much bigger victory. If we go state by state, state assembly election, last almost 1.5 decade, most of the assembly elections have witnessed a higher turnout compared to the previous election in that particular state. And in a very large number of cases, the governments got defeated. Some cases, government also got re-elected, vice versa. So really, it is very difficult to figure out at this moment whether a higher turnout indicates anti-incumbency mood or a lower turnout really indicates a pro-incumbency mood. Very difficult to figure out any correlation, but one thing is clear, that this indicates a lesser or a lower interest of the voter in the current election, at least in the first phase, the constituency which went for in the first phase of polling. I think we should not, my own sense is that heat has also contributed to that. A very high temperature on the polling day may have also contributed to slightly lower turnout. And just last one thing, we should not forget that we are comparing it with 2019, which registered the highest voter turnout. So that is why we are all talking about lower voter turnout, lower voter turnout. If you compare it with 2009, 2004, 99 and various previous Lok Sabha election, we may be discussing something else, that why the turnout is high compared to 2009. So the benchmark has gone up. 2019 registered a very high turnout of 68%.
But, Sanjay Kumar, you're really not helping the viewers because there's so much interest and there's so much, chatter on what really is behind the 4% drop. But Rahul Verma, is the news in the fine print? Because Sanjay Kumar has said that psephology-wise, you really can't predict what it really means. Is it the fine print? Because if you look at the fine print, a state like West Bengal has seen a 10% jump in voter turnout, but a state like Bihar has seen a fall of about 7 to 8%. Uttarakhand, again, one of the lowest polling states. You're on mute, Rahul Verma.
I'm on mute. No,
Yeah,
I'm
go
not
ahead,
on
sir.
mute.
Okay, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
so,
Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me make 4 points, and I'm largely in agreement with Sanjay Kumar. First point, see, I'm not very much concerned about the turnout drop or decline. The reason is this, that you cannot always have a turnout increasing. You had increase in 2014 and 2019. At some point, there had to be a correction in this increase, as we do in the market, right? If markets keep rising, then at some point they will also drop. So it was expected that at some point this had to happen. This is happening in this election. Point number 2, there is no correlation between turnout and incumbency advantage. Sanjay ji pointed out the data at Lok Sabha level, but the same is if you analyze even at the constituency level. Same trend for last 30 years of data, no sort of relationship. Where turnout matters is not the level of increase or decrease, but which groups turned out more or which groups turned out less, right? And what seems to be happening in last 2 elections, that those who are more inclined to vote for the BJP, they were turning out more. And those who were inclined to vote for the opposition party voters, they were inclined to turn out less. So yes, it is possible that heat, and because there is no national mood in the campaign, perhaps the campaign was muted, those might be playing a role, but that's a smaller sort of like role to my mind. Globally, what we know that the level of turnout is always related to political competition. As political competition increases, turnout is going to be high because each side is going to mobilize more voters. When political competition decreases, there is more sort of like chances that turnout is going to decline. And my final point, at this point, anyone trying to make a guess that which party is going to have an advantage with the decline or increase in turnout is at best guess without any evidence.
All right, guess without any evidence. Before I bring in Ashutosh and Rajat Sethi in this conversation, Sanjay ji and Rahul ji, I'll ask you one quick question. Sanjay ji, do you think somewhere down the line, where you said that at least one thing we can gauge, that enthusiasm is low this time, does that mean it's not a wave election? Because in a wave election, you'd see high enthusiasm.
Yes, to a great extent, I would agree to the statement that if you compare it with 2019, the enthusiasm in 2024 election seems to be low. And that is also because we don't see a wave in this election. There is this, I would not consider it as a wave election, at least going by the first phase of polling.
Okay. Rahul Verma, do you concur with Sanjay ji?
See, most of the time, waves we only figure out once the elections are over and we look at the results and we see whether there was a wave or not. So even with this sort of election, whether it BJP, say, wins big, touches 350, or BJP loses and comes down to 250 or below, we would be able to sort of like indicate that there was either a pro-BJP wave or anti-BJP wave. So it's hard during the election process to figure out whether there is a wave or not.
Playing it very safe, Rahul Verma, your article said something very different. I'm going to come back to it. But I'm going to cut across and bring in Ashutosh and Rajat Sethi. I think, Ashutosh, what Rahul Verma has done is he's gone back, looked at things and said maybe a little too early to say there's no wave. But Sanjay ji has said it. But Ashutosh and Rajat Sethi, I'm going to bring you in on, on this and maybe politically speaking. Ashutosh, what do you make of it? If you look at the fine print, 3 seats in West Bengal go to polling. All 3 of them held by the Bharatiya Janata Party see a voting percentage of 10% higher than 2019 on these 3 seats. On the other hand, one might say that there's anti-incumbency vote there, but in Bihar, it's similar. Those seats were held by the BJP and it's seen the lowest voting percentage, the second lowest in the first phase.
See, Preeti, on a lighter note, the psephologists, they go by data, and data by nature is boring and non-exciting. So I'm not surprised the reaction of Mr. Rahul Verma and Sanjay Kumar. But political analysts, I can tell you, are more exciting. See, the 2 things is very clear. One, there is no enthusiasm in the vote. And there is a certain amount of indifference also. And this certain amount of indifference is for many, many reasons. But what I am going to infer is by what the Prime Minister said just after the first day of polling. And if you connect both of them, the way the Prime Minister has attacked and crossed all lines, the Lakshman Rekha he has crossed, that shows that there is something wrong with the first phase of polling and the BJP is slightly worried. And the BJP can be worried only on one count, that the kind of expectation they were having with the voters is not being fulfilled. The point number 2, that either the BJP voters are not coming to the polls or the BJP booth workers are also not working in the sense. And why I'm saying so, because sometimes it happens. Then when the leader is saying we are winning with a huge margin, then what happens? The leader, the candidate, and the worker and the cadre, all 4, they get very complacent. They know that, ek vote nahi padega to kya hua? We are anyway going to win. And the margin is so heavy in North India that even if the 2% drops, yes, we are going to win. And that's why the Prime Minister's belligerent speech on the Hindu-Muslim issues and is continuously attacking on that issue, it shows that the BJP, if not BJP, at least the Prime Minister is worried, and he knows the low turnout is a bad signal.
All right, Rajat Sethi, and is that the reason why that at least in the last 2 days, what we've heard the Prime Minister and your top leadership opening rallies with not is bar 400 par, but is bar Modi Sarkar. There's been maybe a rethink on that, is it? That, maybe you bit off too much by suggesting 400, you've made your cadre and your voters complacent?
Well, one thing, Preeti ji, is sure that us analysts think and are wired in a different way, and politicians are wired in that to Prime Minister Modi is wired in a totally different way. First of all, what I feel, what I sort of understand from first phase is that, yes, BJP would have thought, ideally when you are in a war, you do not plan for the best case scenario. You plan for an absolute worst case scenario. Best case can always happen, which is good for everybody, for the incumbent, etc. But when you're planning for the worst case, you would want to identify what genuine issues would have gone wrong in terms of having a lower voter turnout. And this is where I think Prime Minister Modi was never satisfied, with a benchmark. He keeps pushing the envelope forward. He would have thought that, is it that the middle class voters haven't gone out because of the heat wave, or is it that, my cadre is not enthused enough that he is not able to draw out people for the voting? He would be, looking at those factors, even if it might not be true. He would still be, prepping for the election and constantly changing his game plan, his strategy, as we speak throughout the election in a live way. Contrary to this, I don't think opposition is so nimble or is so agile when it comes to changing scenarios. This is where the key difference is. What Prime Minister would have thought is, yes, the temperatures seem a little low. We have seen 2 consecutive very high octane events. The local elections in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, BJP went all out, and it was a very, very big electoral affair because that was considered as a semi-final. And then you had the Ram Temple issue, again a very high octane event. When these 2 high octane events were there, the first phase relatively seemed a little dull. And I think this is where Prime Minister would have picked up that it requires greater political rhetoric. It requires going ballistic against the opposition. And people at the end of the day want to see a gladiator fight. And if they see the gladiator fight, they cheer more. And the more they cheer, the more they turn up at the election booths. And it is good for everybody. If a voter is getting a chance to come out and pick their representative, it is good for the opposition and good for the incumbent. But here the incumbent is smart in a way that they are planning out the worst case scenario and trying to course correct and trying to see that, the voter is at least enthused among the choice that is available, however stark that choice.
Sanjay ji, you at least stuck your head out and said that it, at least for now, even if you go by the first phase, it doesn't seem like a wave election. And of course, we'll know because there are 6 phases pending and you can, correct yourself later on if you think otherwise. But as a psephologist, if you are to look at the first phase, what are the top readings that you have come up with?
Top reading, my own sense is that what Rahul has mentioned, that if the voters also look at the nature of competition, you mentioned about very low turnout in Bihar. I think general perception is that BJP is having a very strong alliance in its favor, and so voters of the NDA as well as the UPA, NDA voters may have got complacent because they think our group or the party which they are likely to vote for is very strong, or the NDA which they are likely to vote for is very strong. So why to stand in the queue in such a hot weather? And maybe the voters who intended to vote for the India alliance, they may have thought maybe that it's very difficult to defeat the formidable NDA alliance in Bihar, as it looks like, going by the alliance pattern. So that may have, so the nature of political competition may have brought down the turnout in Bihar. And if you look at Bengal, which you are mentioning, that a 10% increase, and we all know that how keenly people are watching the West Bengal election and how keenly is West Bengal election contested. So some relationship you can draw that the nature of competition may also be guiding the voters' enthusiasm and their participation on the voting day. So that's also some relationship we find. That's the kind of analysis I could do based on the turnout in different states.
Rahul Verma, let's bring in a few other states in all of this. Uttarakhand, one of the lowest states in terms of turnout. And you bring in a state like Rajasthan. Many political analysts today say Rajasthan could be the wild card, at least in the first 2 phases. And it could go either way. But, even there's been a significant drop in voting percentage.
True. As I said, Preeti, one thing which I learned with every election, that once the voting starts or comes very, very close to voting day, elections somehow in all kinds of conversations become very, very uncertain. Like if you were talking a month from 15 days, 20 days back, all polls were predicting that BJP has a massive advantage, would be sort of like crossing its previous mark. So elections at that point seem a little bit more certain. And this largely happens because during the election phase, we don't have the kind of data, polling data and everything that comes out, which was available 15, 20 days back. So to me, it's all the conversation which makes election much more uncertain rather than the actual ground situation. Because elections hardly at this level can be changed in last 10 days, 15 days. Much like exam, if you only study on the last day, you can very well pass the exam, but you are not going to get, distinction. So the more uncertainty which is being created on Twitter and all kinds of conversation which we are having is actually not the situation. So you'll see all that analysis coming up. Regarding your point C, why in some states the fluctuation would be around the turnout would be higher is also given the base. See, a Tamil Nadu or a West Bengal on an average turns out around 80%, whereas a UP and Bihar turns out around 60%. So the kind of fluctuations that you can see in these 2 states because of the base is going to be very, very different.
All right. Ashutosh, taking off from what Rahul Verma said, that till now there's at least been perception that the BJP was in pole position going into this election. When an election starts, and he is right, the heat of the election, campaign, all the rhetoric, sometimes you end up missing the woods from the trees, and the chatter on Twitter and social media takes over on what really is happening on ground. Do you see, people fall victim to that?
No, I will not say that the people will fall victim for that, but the fact of the matter is that the BJP is in a pole position. Since 2014, BJP is in a pole position, and there is a huge amount of upsurge in their vote percentage. If you look at 2009, in 2009 the BJP was somewhere around 7 crore or the 8 crore. In 2014 it jumped to 17 crore votes, and in 2019 it jumped to 22 crore votes. So from 19% to 37%, from 19% to 31% vote share, and the Congress, in contrast, has diminished. It has gone back to 19% from 28% in 2009. So there is no doubt that the BJP is in a pole position. If you look at about the battles which is in the North India, and the battles in the North India is that the BJP almost from they have a gap of the gap between the Congress and the BJP is from 10 to 25% vote share, from 10 to 25% vote share. So that shows that and still, if you see that the political movement which is happening in Rajasthan and a political movement happening in the western UP, that means there is something that's happening on the ground, and that something on the ground can be upsetting to the BJP, because BJP is already BJP has saturated in the North India. So
but as I bring in Rajat Sethi, Ashutosh, therefore the question, so is it oversimplification of what the Prime Minister possibly said 2 days ago, and say that maybe the BJP is finding itself in a weak spot, that's why the kind of rhetoric? Because we've seen it happen before. BJP is a party which doesn't take anything lightly, Ashutosh.
That is what.
Okay, Rajat Sethi, come in.
Yeah, no, I mean, you answered your question, Preeti. BJP, I don't think that they're taking this election for granted. 400 pivot and all of that is okay, but I think they also understand that, like cricket, nothing is certain in politics. A week's time is a long time in politics. Things can rapidly change, and I think this is one factor the Prime Minister is very strongly keeping a close watch. And also in certain seats, what I'm observing, I'm in Maharashtra, and I'm observing certain seats are becoming unnecessarily hyper-localized. They're going on specific, between two royal families fighting. It's between Pawar and Pawar's fighting. It's not about Modi anymore. And I think this is where Prime Minister Modi is trying to increase the temperature and make it about himself.
But Rajat Sethi, you're bang on there. And I'm running out of time, but you're bang on there, because what is happening on certain seats, and that's not just happening in Maharashtra where you are, not all, but a couple of seats in Rajasthan, exactly the same, where it's the contest is becoming hyper-localized. I just want to bring in Rahul Verma and Sanjay Kumar quickly back into this conversation. Rahul Verma, final words going ahead to phase 2 and onwards. What would you be watching out for?
Preeti, I don't look at things in binaries, certain versus uncertain. Yeah, yes, nothing is certain in life. But when you think of certainty and uncertainty, you have to think in terms of probability. Yes, cricket matches become uncertain when the game starts, but you have certain probability associated when two teams contest. Who's going to more likely to win? Right. Similarly, what happens in elections, because all of these conversations which is coming out of each sort of like seat and even from each polling booth, you are looking at trees too much and then not figuring out what's happening at the bigger level. The bigger picture drives elections, not what is happening in each village and each mohalla, because then it becomes really, really hard to figure out what's going on.
To zoom out from micro to macro, but zoom out from micro to macro with psephology. You've also got a bit of philosophy in all of this. But Sanjay ji, last question to you. Would you want to take the same, what I asked Rahul Verma? What would you be watching out for?
No, I would be watching 2 states. Kerala, because Kerala BJP Congress has performed very well in the last Lok Sabha election, and there is so much of hype created by BJP in Kerala. So what's happening in Kerala tomorrow on the 26th of April, and also Karnataka, where BJP got defeated, there is a Congress government, and Congress seems to be holding very strong because it's a very strong regional leaders in Karnataka. BJP had performed very well in 2019 Lok Sabha elections, won 25 out of 28 seats. So I think I would also be watching Karnataka. Can BJP repeats its performance? So I think these are the two states which is on my plate when the people vote on in these two states on the 26th of April.
All right, and we'll reconvene soon after that. Appreciate all for gentlemen for joining us. Thank you there. We're going to leave it at that. Best leave it to Sophrology. What we can say for sure, well, it's hot. So even if the Election Commission says that one of the main reasons for the voting percentage to drop is the heat wave, you can possibly believe that also. It's very, very hot out there. Leaving it at that, up next, Rahul Kanwar.
Weather Shield Power Flex.
इसका हर रंग लड़े धूप, धूल और बारिश से।
It's colorful. It's powerful.
कुछ दिन पहले वहां एक छोटा दुकानदार, उसको सिर्फ इसलिए बुरी तरह से पीटा गया, लहूलुहान कर दिया गया, क्योंकि वो अपनी दुकान में बैठे बैठे हनुमान चालीसा सुन रहा था। ये कांग्रेस की कर्नाटका की